So how's it going? It's so weird.
Everything is good. Everything is positive. And how is going from your side?
It's going okay. I mean, I'm in London, so it's the end of the lockdown soon. So finally,
So
yeah.
I think after one week, the lockdown is going to removed by the government, right?
Yeah. Wednesday.
And
Wednesday. So fingers crossed it's finishing soon. Yeah. Going back to a social life.
it's live. Okay.
Yeah.
So firstly, I want to thank you for accepting my invitation and accepting to talk with me.
It's a pleasure. I told you I really like your videos. They're really fun. So it's cool. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. So can you introduce yourself to my audience?
Yeah, so I'm Marlène. I'm French, if people can recognize my accent. And I mean, I live in London and I'm basically writing a book, so great passion of my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're from England.
I'm from France, from Paris.
Okay. You're from
Yeah.
France.
Yeah.
Okay. So I saw that you're a writer and you're a storyteller.
Yeah, so basically, I've been writing a book for 6 years now. So
Okay.
it's not published yet. It's going to next year, I hope. Next year is going to be the big year, I hope so. So yeah, just finishing everything at the moment. So it's really cool. Yeah.
Okay. So writing is your full-time job?
So I do that. I have a part-time job that pays my rent basically. So I work in retail and well, at the moment I'm locked down, so I'm not really working that much. But yeah, so I do that 3 days a week and then the rest 4 days of the week. So yeah.
Okay. So you said your book is going to be released in next year, 2021.
I mean, I hope so. It's a long way to finding an agent and then working with an editor and then finding a publisher. And I haven't started looking yet. But next year, hopefully, things will change and I'll find all that. Yeah, positive.
Positive, yeah.
Yeah, I have to. Because the thing is, you know what? 2020 was such a bad year. I thought, oh, let's just keep it for 2021. Let's just hope for the best, not do it
Yeah.
in 2020. No, it's been a bad year.
Yeah, it's a bad year. COVID is ruling and COVID started dominating the world.
I mean, can you imagine? Mm.
So what genre you write and you're going to write in the coming book?
So I write fantasy. So it's got some magic. It's got a lot of bloodshed. It's just like these kind of like very adult fantasy story with characters that are like really tricky to understand, just like us. Human beings are just like they have different sides of them, and I just really love to explore that sort of psychology in people, but like with a fantasy background and wars, revenge. Yeah. It's quite fun.
Nice. So how much time you took to write this book?
6 years.
6 years.
6 years. But the thing is, because it's the first of a series of six, and because it's a fantasy world, it took me like maybe about 2 years to really develop this world and develop all the storylines and the characters to make sure that as I'm writing the first book, I also know what's happening in the next books, so that everything is already in my head and I can start kind of setting things for the future of the books. Mm.
So so you said you're not a full-time writer. You started it.
So I mean, I do that like 4 days a week because the other days, I have to work, I have to earn money to pay my rent, pay my food. But yeah, as soon as for me, and I'm just waiting for the day I can do that full time and I get actual money from that. That's the dream, that's the career I want. So yeah.
So what are
Mm.
the books that inspired you to write?
So I don't like to say too much because everybody's like, yeah, that's the biggest book of the decade. But Game of Thrones, when I started to read the books and watch the TV shows, like that's the kind of story I really love in fantasy, where you've got like so many complex people, so many different storylines, and it's a really adult one as well, where you can see a lot of things that happen that are very raw. Um, yeah, I would say Game of Thrones, but then there's like this book by Jay Kristoff, which is called Nevernight. It's an amazing one as well. I started to read it like last year, and he's got an amazing trilogy as well, like super inspiring. Yeah. There's amazing stories out there for fantasy, I think. Mm.
So what is your imagination?
What do you mean?
I mean, your fantasy
Like, what, you mean the world or?
that you're going to put in your book.
Oh, so basically well, I can't say too much about it because obviously it's not published yet, but what I will say is that I'm very about history and history of antiquity. And in antiquity, you've got ancient Greece, ancient Rome, ancient Egypt, ancient Mesopotamia. And I really wanted to write a book, a fantasy book that was set in this time. So it's very inspired by lots of different civilizations throughout antiquity. And I just think that there's not a lot of fantasy books out there that are set in antiquity. So you can imagine like great big palaces and people on horseback and sword battles, but not like Middle Age, like antiquity style. So yeah,
Okay.
that's basically the world.
Okay. So 6 years, you're writing a single book.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first one. Then I've got 5 more. It's
Okay.
6 books in total, series.
Okay. So you said you don't want to talk more about it since it is not yet published.
I mean, I can talk about the world a little bit. So it's basically an empire. I can pronounce them. So it's the Empire of Rair.
Okay.
It might be a bit tricky to pronounce, and it has like 8 different cities, and the cities all have their own queens. I mean, this I don't want to go too much in depth about it, but every city is very different, and every city has like their own different traditions. And you've got basically the book follows the life of different characters from different cities. So it's a lot of I don't know if I'm going to explain it right because there's so much to talk about, but like there's a lot of characters who are going to meet, cross path and stuff like that in different cities, and yeah, that's all I can say really.
Okay.
Mm.
So other than writing, what do you do?
Well, I work in retail, so I work for a fashion brand. So I love fashion a lot. I think, fashion is very inspiring as well. And I love to watch a lot of sci-fi movies, like
Okay.
alien stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just very curious about a lot of things. So I just love to watch documentaries, read more and more books, and just wait for the COVID to end, basically.
Okay. So what made you to come into writing? What made you to become a writer?
It's funny because I never wanted to be a writer. I've never even thought that would be something I was capable of. 6 years ago, like I basically had these stories in my head from when I was like 13. Like that's a long time ago because I'm 30 now, so very long time ago. And I've always kind of had them in my head. And then I don't know, like 6 years ago, as the years had gone by, the stories in my head became bigger and bigger and started to join. And then 6 years ago, I thought, if I don't write that story, I'm going to go crazy. So I thought, I'll see what happens. I don't want to write a book, but I need to write it because otherwise it's just, I'm going to go crazy. So I just started to write and I just realized that, oh, I can actually write and I love it because it helps me to put all my emotions down on
Yeah.
paper and just express myself. And now it's what I want to do for the rest of my life.
So how do you feel
So,
after expressing your feelings and thoughts through your book?
it's just very freeing. Because I mean, everybody's different, but I'm not someone who expresses her emotions that much. It's my personality. Through writing, I can really, like, everything that I feel in my life, I can really put it on paper through some of my characters, through what they're going through, transform it a little bit, and just really myself, just free myself of the emotions and just be more relaxed, you know.
What are your favorite books? You already said it, but is there any a particular book that makes you to read it again and again?
Oh my God, yes. It's actually, so it's The Three Musketeers. I don't know how old I was when I started to read The Three Musketeers, but it's from Alexandre Dumas, and he's like one of my favorite authors, French author, obviously. And I don't know. I mean, there's just something in this story. I can't explain it, but it's my favorite book ever. I can just read it like every few months, honestly. Mm.
So as a person, you want you're a good speaker or good writer?
I'm a good writer.
Okay.
I'm not a good speaker. I'm not a good speaker. I'm a good writer, yeah.
Okay. So introvert or extrovert?
Extrovert. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you read other country people's, I mean, other country books like US, German, and Spain.
Mm, not so much. I mean, because most of what I read is either like French classic literature or I read like more like British or American fantasy. Or I actually read like the old writings of like, so Herodotus, he's this guy from ancient Greece who's like the first historian in history, right? So he wrote like, I'm going to say a big mistake. I think he wrote like 3,000 years ago, but that might be a mistake. And I read his books because like the translation from ancient Greece because it's just so interesting. He writes about the Persian Wars and the Persian Wars, Persia against Greece, and it's very interesting. That's what really inspired me for the books, actually. So
Okay.
yeah.
So you read the Indian books, the Indian authors? No.
No, I can't say. If you've got some names for me, though, I'll read them definitely.
Okay. I'll tell you. I'll send you the links if I
Yeah.
get, you know. So a lot of authors also did videos with me. You can see if you may like some authors or you may connect with some
Mm.
authors.
Yeah. I'm curious about like so many different cultures, so I'd love to know what like is kind of like the inspirations behind their stories as well. That must be quite cool.
Have you watched any previous videos of mine on YouTube?
Yeah, I have.
What you felt?
I think it's quite, for me, what I really like is the diversity of the people who talk, you know. I just like you've got like an old British guy to like a another like young American guy. Like it's just funny and like people who do like very different things, you know. They come from different backgrounds, they do different things, they have different perspectives of situations and lives. And it's quite fun because sometimes I feel like, you watch something and it's just very focused on like, oh, just music or just cinema, but like having like real people, real backgrounds, real experiences, real people telling their stories, it's what's really interesting. It's what we want to know about. So yeah.
So you said you are more into fantasy and you just want to create characters and which is not existed and which is not real. So why not real?
Mm, what do you mean real? Like,
The reality. Can you take the characters from the reality and pick a story from it and can put in a book?
Not really. Well, because I'm set in an antiquity time, it's quite tricky. But what I take is more like about human nature. I can't take from current experiences. I mean, there are some things in my book that are very, if you read it, you can think, oh, that's very similar to our world now. There's
Okay.
like, it rings a bell. But I mean, essentially, it's more about the human nature because human nature hasn't changed. If you were like 4,000 years ago and today. So that's what I
Okay.
take. Mm.
I think you have studied the entire history.
No, I studied advertising. It's very different. Very different, but yeah.
Okay. So at last, do you have anything to say to the people who watches this video from anywhere on this planet?
Good luck, everyone. Good luck with the COVID. I mean, it might be better in some countries, but I think still, it's impacting our lives every day. It's impacting the way we travel. It's impacting the way we communicate. And I think that one day soon we'll be out of it. We'll all be able to go back and travel to countries and just feel the culture of other people. And that's it. That's mostly what I'm thinking of. Be strong, everyone.
Are you a deep thinker or uh, uh, just express what you feel at that particular moment?
No, I'm a deep thinker. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Got lots of thoughts in there.
I saw your profile. It was fantastic. So I thought I got
Oh,
to show you to my audience, and I feel great. I feel very happy.
oh, thank you so much. That's so sweet. I appreciate.
So your book is going to release in 2021.
I don't know. We'll see. For now, nothing is settled. There's nothing started yet. I haven't found an agent yet. I haven't found a publisher, but one day it will be there. So yeah,
Awesome. Awesome. Keep
around
going.
the
Keep
world.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep
Yeah.
doing. Keep
Thank you so
doing
much.
what you love and what makes you feel happy.
And you too, you keep doing that as well. It's entertaining us all.
Thanks a lot. Can I put this
Thank
video
you.
on my YouTube and on internet on social media with your permission?
Absolutely, you can. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so
Take
much
good
for
care,
giving.
okay?
Uh,
Bye.
bye.
Bye bye.